Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Rodney, and I'm back, and I wanted to go ahead and talk about the Braxtons. Excuse me. The Braxtons was a 2-hour season finale. Um, it wasn't a bad finale. I don't know if this is a series finale. um, I thought that the 2-hour season finale was unnecessary. I thought they could have just broke it. I thought that it could have been broken into two part, like a regular episode. I'm sure they did it for a reason. I don't know what the reason is, um, but it is what it is. So, anyways, I really just want to talk about the sister retreat. But before we get to that, I guess we can tap on Tawanda's wedding. She got married. It was nice, I thought Tawanda looked nice. Tawanda gets on my nerves, but I've always said, if you even if you go back and watch my old reviews, that Tawanda always has given me like a supermodel tee. She really has. Like, I remember looking at Tawanda back in the day, and like even when they would take group photos, Tawanda always stood out the most to me. Even with the current photos they have with the gold, Tawanda just gives me like she was a supermodel. Like, she would be the type of girl that like Tyra would, um, you know, put on America's Next Top Model, and then she would probably win the competition. Anyways, Tawanda looked nice. Even when she was taking photos at the end, with the groomsmen and her husband, I was like, Tawanda looks really, really nice. Anyways, the wedding was cute. Um, um, at one point, she started spazzing out because someone took her parking spot. Um, Vaughn, Vaughn about to die, basically. He's not. But he had to be rushed to the hospital because uh, his numbers were off, basically. And, this is the thing. We all need to do better, right? We all need to treat our bodies with care and sensitivity and stop putting everything in our bodies. I'm the last one to say anything about people not eating healthy. With that being said, Vaughn had to go to the hospital. That's Trina's husband. And I think when he was leaving the hospital, he was hungry. Or whenever he was at the hospital, he was hungry. I can't remember. But whatever the case was, he ordered fried catfish. I think, for the most part, I would hope to believe that whenever you have health scares, especially when they're talking about the things that you put in your body as far as like food, that if it's to the point where you have to leave your sister-in-law's wedding to go to the hospital to look at your test results, the last thing that you will probably be ordering is anything fried, especially in that moment. Now, you might fall off the bandwagon a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later. But in that moment, I think the last thing I will be wanting to do is put anything fried in my body. So the simple fact that he even did that, that kind of showed me, girl, he probably doesn't care. And he'll probably be dead soon. That's just what it is. If he hasn't changed his eating habits by now, then it won't be too long before he's gone to glory. I know Trina cooks. I don't know if they've changed him. I don't know if he's changed his eating habits or not. I know Trina has like a YouTube channel. I think she cooks from time to time. So I don't know. Let's just go ahead and get into the sister retreat, because that's really what I'm down here to talk about. All right. So Tawanda doesn't go to the sisters retreat. I guess she wants to go celebrate her honeymoon. Can I say something? And it is what it is. Tawanda does not have to go to the sisters retreat. she may be done with the relationship with Tamar. Life goes on, right? I don't know if her reason for not going to the sisters retreat was because it was her wedding and she was about to go on her honeymoon, or if she's just gotten to the point where she has accepted that her and Tamar would no longer really deal with each other. I think that her honeymoon is a cop-out. I do. Girl, I'm sorry. You've been with this nigga for 10 years. That's why I hate to say it, but even with the wedding stuff, and even with the little time she spazzed out about her parking spot and how excited she was to be married, I'm like, girl, I guess, but you've been with the nigga for a decade. Like, I don't know. I just think it was weird to me. It was weird to me. It was weird to me how excited she was. Okay, so now you married. Okay, you legally tied yourself to him, but other than that, girl, you're still with the same nigga you've been with for a decade. So I even felt that her not going on the sisters retreat because I have to go on my honeymoon. Girl, you've been fucking and sucking this nigga this whole time. Like, you could go on your honeymoon in a few days if you really, like, I don't know. So I would rather it just be, I didn't want to go to the sisters retreat because I don't have shit to say to Tamar. Fuck her. I don't know. I said all that to say I don't know. They get to Malibu, California. It's a nice house. Very, very nice. The first two to arrive, of course, you know, Tony wasn't the first to arrive. It was Trina and Tamar. They greet each other. They can still be cordial, right? They greeted each other. They gave each other a hug. They sat outside in the backyard and talked. I think they had a drink, like a glass of wine or something. So they were cool. And then Tony arrived later. They were at dinner. And Tamar asked how the wedding was. And she asked about Tawanda. And Trina tried to act like she didn't know anything. I don't know, girl. I think they were playing in Tamar's face. I do. Tamar, you know, because Tawanda wasn't present, she, like, you know, I guess it was a joke. She made a blow-up doll, and it was basically supposed to be representation for Tawanda not, you know, for Tawanda being absent. Tony, bitch, I'm not gonna lie, I hollered. Tony was sitting at the table, and she was eating a biscuit. And she was cutting the biscuit with a knife. She was eating the biscuit with a knife and a fork. Bitch, when Tamar said... Because I was wondering, too. Most of the time when I see people eat a biscuit, they'll just eat it with their hand, right? They'll just pick the biscuit up and bite into it. Tony's at the table cutting the biscuit up. She said she didn't want to get her nails done because I think she had just got her nails done. I mean, she didn't want to get her nails. I guess she didn't want to mess her nails up because she had just got them done. And Tamar said, girl, you married the Birdman. You doing a lot. Okay? And that's all I can think about, too. It's no tea, no shame. I'm sorry. You can't be married to a hood-ass nigga with, like, Birdman with tattoos all over his face and body and head, and you want to be at the table trying to act prim and proper. Girl, you married to Birdman. Okay? All the prim and proper goes out the window. I'm sorry. I'm not saying you got to be a hood bitch, too, but, bitch, you married to Birdman. So you sit at this table eating a biscuit with a knife and a fork. Girl, you doing too much. Girl, we know who your husband is, girl. I'm sorry. Anyways, so I guess it wasn't supposed to be discussed that Tony really doesn't talk about her relationships at all. I think Tony brought Birdman on the show one time when they first got together, right? Birdman has been on the show, right? I think I remember saying Birdman on the Braxton Family Values like once or twice. I think. I'm almost sure. Anyways, but outside of that, Tony really doesn't talk about her personal life. You know, she'll show her kids, blah, 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 but she ain't really going deep into detail. I was about to go on a whole rant, but I'm going to leave it alone. And then Trina asked, are we talking about that? Trina, baby, y'all mic'd up. So you whispering? Are we talking about that? Basically, are we talking about Birdman? Are we talking about your relationship with Birdman? Tamar was like, I didn't tell anything. It's already out there. Because at one point, I think Birdman and Tony had got married, and then it had broke that they were getting a divorce like 2 weeks later. It was something real crazy. Trina. They do be gaslighting the shit out of Tamar. They do. And this was an example to me. So the cameraman, he was moving to Wanda. It's a blow-up doll, right? And the blow-up doll was sitting right beside Trina. And he moved it, and Trina jumped. And Tamar was like, girl, y'all know Trina has real... Even though, like Tamar, how are you trying to explain what's going on with Trina? But it is what it is. Tamar started to explain that Trina has real bad anxiety and high levels of stress, blah, 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 right? And Trina's like, no. And then she says, well, that's why your blood pressure is high due to you having high anxiety. And then she says, well, my blood pressure is high for other reasons, and it's not something that I wanted to divulge on TV. And then Tamar was like, wait. like I'm not telling nothing that you ain't told me. And then Trina was like, I don't want to discuss my blood pressure like on TV. And Tamar was like, whoa. Like, I'm not saying anything that you haven't told me already on TV. Girl, they show a clip of Trina talking to Tamar about her blood pressure being high. So Tamar really was just repeating something that Trina had just said probably an hour or two earlier. But the way that Trina tried to make it seem was as if Tamar was saying something that we were not privy to, even though she had just told Tamar that in front of the camera. Tamar didn't go any further than what Trina had already told us, which was basically talking about her blood pressure. So Tamar started to get agitated. And then Tony jumps in, and then she says, wait, she didn't say it that way. And then I felt like Tony should have just stayed out of it, because Trina low-key is playing in Tamar's face. The way that Trina is trying to act is if Tamar has told the family secret or a secret about her that we were not privy to, even though they just showed a clip of Trina telling Tamar talking about her blood pressure with Tamar. So Tamar brings it up, and now Trina is acting weird. I understood what Tony was trying to say also too, right? Her whole thing was, girl, sometimes just say okay. It's not that you're agreeing with the person, but it's just kind of like, okay, girl. Like, okay. And I agree with that too. Tamar's whole thing was like, well, I'm not you. True. Even though I can agree that even though I feel like Trina was trying to gaslight Tamar in that moment, I also felt too that Tony was right about sometimes everything ain't gotta be an argument. Like, why can't it just be, oh, okay, girl. Like, okay. Like, bitch, I know you full of shit, but okay, girl. And that's what Tony, I agree with Tamar, and I saw what Trina was trying to do, but I also agree with Tony too. But I also wish Tony would have stayed out of it, because this is why Tamar feels the way that she feels. Because you're trying to tell Tamar that Trina didn't say it that way, she didn't mean it that way. Yes, the fuck she did. And even if you feel that way, just stay out of it and let Trina and Tamar do what they gonna do. But then that's why Tamar feels like y'all always jumping on her. Anyways, the sound bath. I don't know anything about sound baths. I don't. I've never participated in one. I've seen them happen on TV. I see them happen all the time on reality TV. It doesn't look like anything that I wouldn't participate in. If somebody said we're doing a sound bath, I would be like, okay. I know enough about it through TV where I know it wouldn't just like freak me out. I thought Trina was doing team too much. I know you believe in what you believe in and you feel how you feel. But Trina was hesitant to participate in the sound bath because she didn't know if it would go against her religious beliefs. So she said, I'm gonna participate, but I'm kind of weary because I don't know what this is about, blah, 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 blah. So they start the sound bath, and the woman is talking, and Trina just sitting there like this. She told him to get in a comfortable position. Tamar laid down, and then Tony laid down, and then eventually Trina laid down too. But at first she was just sitting there like this. Because her whole thing was like, I don't know what you're praying to. I don't know what who you're speaking to. I don't know what's going on. Like, girl. I've never heard people I'm not saying it can't be. Again, I'm not the one to speak on it. I have never heard people make sound baths this religious thing. I don't know. I just thought it was weird, and I almost felt like it was borderline disrespectful. I did. Like, if you don't want to do it, then just get the fuck up and leave. Like, don't even come. Like, I would rather you just not go do it than to go and then disrespect those ladies in front of their face like that. Because if I was those ladies, I would have said, girl, just get up and go home. Because what we not going to do is sit here and play this game, girl. You feel like I'm conjuring up the devil or some shit. Anyways, Trina got on my fucking nerves. So anyways, they go and they have dinner. They talked about how far Trina lives, I guess, from Atlanta. She lives like an hour and a half, like outside of Atlanta. But this is the gag, right? She used to go to Tamar's house every Sunday. And they would watch football together. Trina used to go to Tamar's house every Sunday. And they would watch football together. And I'm assuming it was due to the Ashley story. When all that shit happened, it just changed stuff. Now, this is when shit started to get a little tricky. I don't believe Trina. So listen to this. Tamar starts asking questions, right? Because that's why we're here. We're here to put everything out on the table and to move forward. Can I say this too? The shit is a flop. You know why the sisterhood is going to be a flop? Because they're not doing it the right way. If they really, 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 really cared about their sisterhood, girl, I understand. I think the Braxtons is a good show. I do. It's a mess, but I think I think some people, it triggers people because it reminds them of their own family. No shade. But I feel like if they really want to get to the root of the problem, I think that they really have to go to like therapy. Y'all want to sit at the table and just talk to each other, and y'all really not talking about what needs to be discussed. And then y'all need someone there who can really move the conversation along, or at least be able to moderate the conversation. I think them doing it themselves is not really resolving anything. You had Tony, who pretty much just sat there and was quiet the entire time. And then most of it was just Trina and Tamar. And then with Tawanda not being there, it really just is like a missing piece of the puzzle. So it's like we're really not getting anywhere. And I agree with Tamar at one point. Tamar, like Tamar said, girl, the biggest issue is between me and Tawanda, and she's not even here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's kind of pointless in a way, because I don't think y'all are really resolving anything. Because I think they have to me, I think they need to start from the beginning, from when they were children, and work their way all the way up. And I don't think they can do that on this TV show. And I think they also need to talk about how Tamar was violated as a child and how nobody protected her when she came to them. I think they all need to, I think all that needs to be put out. And I also think that motherfucking mama and daddy need to be there too, because they need to be held accountable also. It ain't just the sisters. And if they're not going to hold Miss Evelyn accountable and Michael accountable, then it defeats the purpose. Y'all need to start at the beginning, and everybody needs to be at that motherfucker. Anyways, so Tamar asks Trina, okay, so the lawyer, it's Trina's lawyer. So it's Trina's lawyer, but Trina didn't hire him for him to send Tamar a cease and desist. It sounds like, because they were bleeping out names, Mikey, the brother, you know they have a brother, which is Ashley's father. Michael got in contact with Trina to ask Trina about her lawyer's information. So Trina gave Michael her lawyer's information, and then the rest is history. I remember a lawyer coming out saying that none of the girls no Braxton with a vagina had anything to do with the cease and desist. And this is where it starts to get a little tricky for me. Because Michael, who wanted to shut it down, because Ashley was also coming out talking about how Michael was abusive, I think to her mother, I believe. And then she come out with the story. Is it a coincidence? Shout out to Nene Leakes. Do y'all think it's a coincidence that out of all the sisters that Michael got in contact with Trina, the one who is involved in the story as it pertains to his daughter, her niece? And Michael being his big ass age, why does he need to go through Trina to find a lawyer? Why does it have to be Trina that you go through to find a lawyer? You don't know how to find a lawyer? But let's just say you did know how to find a lawyer. And you just wanted to go the easier, I just need a lawyer. Girl, can you give me a lawyer? Out of all the Braxton sisters, you got in contact with Trina. And Trina is the one who Ashley came out and said, well, she ain't said the names, but she said her aunt and her husband. And we know it was Trina and Gabe. Y'all see what I'm trying to say? So Trina's trying to act like I didn't have nothing to do with that. Michael just called me and asked me for my lawyer's information, and I gave it to him. Girl, if you don't shut the fuck up, you're not going to get me to believe that Michael got in contact with you about your lawyer's information, and you didn't ask any questions on why he needed your lawyer's information. You knew what the fuck was about to happen. You knew. You knew. And that's exactly why I said Trina sat her black ass at that table when everybody was about to turn that restaurant up to Wanda, Tamar, and Tony. And who was the quietest? Who's the most quiet? Trina. Trina. Go back and watch it. Trina said 3 words at that table. She tried. The only time she said something was when she tried to embarrass Tamar because Tamar was saying ceased. She wasn't saying cease and desist. She was saying so. She was saying it the way I used to say it. Okay. She tried to embarrass Tamar, and then she said a lawyer doesn't need. I forgot what else she said, but she didn't say a lot. She didn't say a lot. Now it makes sense. Trina is trying to make it seem as though I have nothing to do with it, but you did. You did have something to do with it. Because the story revolves around Ashley, you, your trifling ass dead husband, the stepmama, and Michael. And then Michael just gets in contact with you to ask you about your lawyer's information, and you don't know nothing. You ain't asked no questions. He couldn't call Tony. He couldn't call he couldn't call Tawanda. I don't think Tamar fooled with him. He couldn't call Tamar. Like, I'm sure Miss Evelyn probably got a lawyer. Like, he called you. Tamar asked Trina, did you give him my address? She said no. But even when she asked about Michael, did you give Michael, did Michael get in contact with you or whatever? She was like, yeah. about to lie. That was Trina and Michael. And no matter how Trina might try to spend it, while the cease and desist did not necessarily come from you, I think Trina damn well knew what was about to happen. And I think Tawanda probably knew too. I think Tony, this is what I think. I think Trina knew, of course, and I think Trina told Tawanda, and I don't think Tony knew nothing. I don't. I think Tony really didn't know. So they start to argue and fuss about. It'd be so funny because they really do argue like sisters. Like 1 minute they're talking calm, then the next minute they get into an argument, then the next minute they're talking calm. It's crazy. They really do argue like siblings. So Tamar, you full of shit. Trina did not touch Tamar. Let me take that back. Trina touched Tamar, but not in an aggressive way that Tamar should have responded. Trina was trying to break up what appeared to be an almost fight. No matter how Tamar wants to try to flip the script, we ain't never got into a fight. I ain't never hit Tony. Tony ain't never hit me. Girl, all I know is, girl, we down here in front of this TV screen and we drinking at this table, and baby Tony pushing tables and you standing up doing this. So yes, I got in the middle of y'all. Tamar is trying to paint this picture. You touch me, yes. Girl, Trina hand. If anything, Trina did more touching to Tony than she did to Tamar. She got in the middle of them to break up the fight. She did not stand up in an aggressive way towards Tamar. She did not put her hands on Tamar in an aggressive way. She stood up and her hand brushed against Tamar to put her hand in the middle of Tamar and Trina. Tamar and Tony. Tamar just wanted to fight. Yes, technically her hand did touch you, but she did not touch you in a way to the point you should have been pulling on her hair and kicking her in the back. Her hand touched you to break up you and Tony from almost fighting. And you can sit here and say, oh, I wasn't going to fight my sister, but you kicked Trina in the back and pulled her hair. So how do we know you wasn't going to fight Tony and Tony wasn't going to fight you? Y'all cannot, well, you can say what you want to say. Trina did not put her hands on Tamar in that type of manner, in that way, to the point Tamar should have been ready to pull her hair and kick her in the back. Trina tried to break her sisters up from fighting. It was not in an aggressive way. Now, she wanted to get mad at Trina for basically trying to throw a dig at her like, you're a superstar, talking about Trina, talking about Tamar, talking about Tony. But even then, Tamar, her reality can be what it is. And we can play this game of, oh, you did touch me. I didn't say you hit me. I said you put your hands on me. You touched me. Girl, stop. 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 And I don't blame Trina for telling Tamar, girl, basically, fuck you. Because you keep trying to paint this picture as if I touch you in a way that calls for your reaction for what I did. My action should have not caused your reaction, bitch. I tried to break you up and Tony up. And I put my hand in the middle of y'all. But that did not call for you to kick me in my fucking back and pull my fucking wig. You're acting like I really put my hands on you in an aggressive way that will cause you to retaliate against me and try to whoop my ass. You see what I'm saying? Kind of got worked up. Anyways, Tamar, she goes to get the laptop because she wants to show Trina that she put her hands on her. Tamar calls Trina a liar. Trina starts talking in Spanish. Tamar starts spazzing and talking about, you just called me a bitch. Trina like, bitch, I didn't call you no bitch. I called you a liar because you called me one first. I don't know Spanish. They put the words on the screen. Based off what they said, Trina said, now y'all can tell me what Trina said, the girls and boys who know Spanish. But the words they put on the screen, Trina didn't even curse. I don't even think she cursed at Tamar. So Tamar had just basically made something up in her head again. Okay. Tony says that she doesn't understand why when they fight it has to be to the death. Why they just can't say what they need to say and move on. Tamar says that, Tamar said, Tamar basically says that because it's always me. It's just me, it's always me. At one point, they started talking about, Trina basically started saying how you stood up. This is the thing. Baby, y'all better go back and watch the episode. Tamar stood up and got in Tony's face first. Be very clear. Unless they just showed it out of order. Tony was sitting down and Tamar was in Tony's face. And Tony was like, Tamar, get out of my face. Tamar was so close to Tony's face, she could have kissed her. Tamar is saying, I stood up after she stood up. In that scene you did, but prior to Tony standing up, girl, before it got heated, you had already stood up and got in Tony's face. Matter of fact, you stood up, threw a glass, swiped the glass, got in Tony's face, and then you sat back down, and then y'all started arguing again, and then Tony got up and got in your face. But Tamar, you got in Tony's face first. At least that's how they showed it on TV. Unless again they just showed it out of order. So Tamar was basically trying to bring that up because she was like, Trina never calls, they always call out her but never call out each other. Like now you're trying to call out me for saying that I stood up to Tony, but Tony stood up to me. Like instead of you calling us both out, basically you just call out me and you don't call out Tony. I got what she was trying to say, but the fact of the matter is, Tamar, you did stand up and get in Tony's face first. Tony stood up and got in your face later on. But it doesn't take away that they will gaslight and they will call out Tamar, but they really don't call out really each other. It really is just Tamar. Because even at the table, back when they were about to fight, it like even Tony was on some fuck shit too. You gonna have to apologize to us when you watch this back. You gonna whatever she was saying. You gonna have to apologize to everybody. Like they really were playing in Tamar's face. Tamar was doing a lot. Some of the shit she said didn't have nothing to do with nothing. Like in real life, her giving Tawanda $35,000 don't have nothing to do with that cease and desist that was sent to her. You see what I'm saying? Anyways, I guess the bird is rubbing off on her. That's what Tamar said about Tony. It is what it is, girl. That's it, girl. They eventually, the next day, girl, they got ready to leave, I guess. I was it was so out of order. Like it's like they could be doing flash. I don't know, girl. Anyways, the next day, I felt like they did. I don't know, girl. I felt like the way they shot this, because they had on the same clothes that they did earlier that day. I don't know. It was weird. The editing was weird. The editing was weird as fuck. So they basically ended it with them having breakfast. Tony, of course, was the last to come downstairs. Trina and Tamar were downstairs talking. Yeah. I mean, it's sad to see when siblings don't get along. But I also know that, girl, sometimes you just don't get along. You just don't. And that's just life. I think that if you're willing to put in the work to, be in relationship with your siblings, I think that that's absolutely okay. I just don't know if the Braxtons are willing to put in the work. Like they can sit down and have these little job ass conversations in front of the TV for this show. But girl, when it's all said and done, if y'all are really not getting to the root of the problem, then the problem is always going to be there. And with Tawanda not being there, I mean, I think that like messes up the whole scenario. And a lot of the issues is with Tamar and Tawanda. Like Trina and Tamar was saying, Trina used to go to Tamar's house every day. And then I guess after the whole Ashley stuff was about to happen, girl, Trina just kind of said, fuck her. But she said that it was because Tamar basically sent all the sisters a text message, basically cussing them out. And saying how she don't fuck with them and she not filming with them, blah, 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 blah. But I think it was more so because of the cease and desist. And I think Tamar mentioned that, like, girl, I spazzed out, but I spazzed out because, girl, I thought y'all was trying to play with my business, basically. But it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. Tamar is a mess. Tamar is not the only mess. Yeah. Tamar is not the only mess. I think it's easy to put it on Tamar because Tamar is the most dramatic. Tamar is very over the top. She does a lot. Even this episode, it was like, I'll say Tamar is like, when she slammed that laptop at one point, I say Tamar is so extra. So it's easy to put it on Tamar because we've seen Tamar and Tamar does act a fool and cut up. But Tamar is not the only mess in that family. If we're going to be honest, the mama a mess, the daddy a mess, Tawanda a mess, Trina a mess, Tony a mess. Yes. All of them are Michael. All right, y'all, I'm gone. I'll talk to y'all later. That's it for the Braxtons. I don't know if they're coming back next season or not. It is what it is. Bye, y'all.